Kelvin Davis.
Sorry,
I apologise to the member, but I have called Kelvin Davis.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Tūtahi māku e tautoko ngia I ngā kupu hei whakatau I a koutou Ngāi te Rangi, ngā Pōtiki ki roto I tēnei tō tātou whare. I runga I ngā kōrero e pāniki o koutou kreme. E te hoa a mita, hariko ana hau te kiti a koe roti te whare. Tēnā rā koe. Mihi kauna ki a koe mō kaha tautoku I hau I taku tainga mai ki tēnei whare pāre mata, nā re mihi kauna ki a koe. Tēnā koutou katoa. Mr. Speaker, in these settlement claim bills, I think it's always appropriate to go over the background, the historical background relating to the bills, the historical account. I've said it time and again, I get really fed up with the great unwashed, ignorant people out there who say, why are these Māoris always in here putting their hand out, wanting more money? It just irritates me to the eyeballs, and I think it's really important that we go through the historical account so people understand, first of all, what was lost before they start hearing and complaining about what's going to come back to the tribes. I remember meeting some people down here in a restaurant in Wellington who attacked me basically by saying, oh, you Māoris, why are you always doing this? Why are you always asking for more money? Why have you got your hands out? When's it going to impact on the people in your tribes? And I basically had a stand-up argument with them and said, you guys need to actually get your facts straight. You need to find out what really happened and stop being so ignorant. In terms of Ngāi te Rangi, in the late 1850s, early 1860s, they were going about their business quite peacefully. Settled there around Tauranga, just basically doing what people do, finding food, looking after the whānau. But then at the establishment of the kingitanga in 1858 and the Crown's attempts to quell what was happening in Waikato, Ngāi te Rangi, as well as Ngā Pōtiki, supported their whanaunga over in the Waikato by taking arms, food, supplies. It happens these days whenever countries go to war, there's always an economy created around the supply and the logistics and support for those battles. It was no different in those days. Ngāi te Rangi, Ngā Pōtiki saw their whanaunga needing assistance and so went to their aid. The Crown, though, to quash this, came and fought Ngāi te Rangi and Ngā Pōtiki and confiscated some 290,000 acres. Now, the population of Aotearoa, New Zealand at the time was probably around about that. Everybody in Aotearoa, New Zealand could have had a whole acre to themselves. That's the size of the parcel of land that was in the confiscation district in Tauranga. It was done to punish those Māori that opposed the Crown. When that land was returned, or it was to be returned, Ngāi te Rangi rangatira understood that only those, that 25% of the land would be held, but it would only be from those that actually resisted the government. In the end, that was not the case. The Crown retained 50,000 acres. My uncle up in Motatau had a farm of some 200 acres. I thought it was a huge bit of land, especially when I had to lift hay bales. But some 50,000 acres of land, this isn't a punishment. This is tantamount to a form of genocide by excluding people from huge amounts of land. It was all about revenge on behalf of the Crown. I see here that there was a prominent Ngāi te Rangi rangatira, Hori Tūpaia. He was associated with Pai Marire activities, and he was detained without being charged in any offence. I find it interesting that that is acknowledged. I'm sorry to detract slightly here from the bill. It's interesting to acknowledge that it was wrong to detain somebody without charges, and 150 or so years after that event, we're saying sorry to a person who's passed away. If the government is really apologetic about detaining and charging somebody, detaining somebody without charges, then we also need to address the situation where our whanaunga in Australia are being detained without charges. I remember when the Māori Affairs Select Committee went to Tauranga Moana to discuss the Coastal and Marine Area Bill some 5 or 6 years ago. I remember a kaumātua standing up and telling us about the area of the coast where they used to gather kaimoana when he was a little kid. It was plentiful kaimoana, heaps of food. And then he said, within a matter of years, a port was built right where they gathered their kaimoana. No consultation, no asking, just plonk a port there. So what are people meant to do when your pantry, your food stores are just taken away like that? And how they're made to feel bad. Oh, what are you worried about? You know, the port's there, yeah, you can go and pick pippies somewhere else, but this is good for the economy of Tauranga and for the Bay of Plenty. Well, my question is, how have Ngāi Rangi and Ngā Pōtiki benefited from that port? Sure, some people may have got jobs, but the reality is their mana over those areas of land was just taken and gone. The unfairness of it all, this is what I want people listening in to understand, the unfairness of these decisions by the Crown and by their agencies and the systems that they've set up to rob people of their livelihood, of their food stores. Ngā Pōtiki suffered similar fates. Their burial place of Tamapāhore on top of a strategic maunga, an ancestral maunga, was disturbed for quarrying. Now, many people probably don't know, many of the non-Māori don't know, the significance to us of our maunga. Whenever we recite our pepeha, we talk about our waka, and a mihi tu mātātua, koutou ngā tuākana, ko hau tētahi o ngā uri o puhi, te teina, nā re mihi kauna ki a koutou. But our maunga are so significant to us, and along comes a council and just quarries. Quarries disturbs the bones of their tūpuna. A rubbish dump was built on Rangi Taua tidal flats, a rubbish dump where they collected kaimoana, and then later a sewage pond was constructed there. This would be the equivalent these days of someone going into Pack and Save and taking a crap in the seafood aisle. The place would be closed down. The food, everything, the shelves would be cleared, it would be fumigated, and yet the Crown and the Council at the time said it's okay to have a sewage pipe going through the kaimoana gathering spot, and a rubbish dump leaching all its waste into that estuary. And where do Ngā Pōtiki go to get kaimoana then? This is the reality, and it's a pity that this group of school children left a few minutes ago, because this is what needs to be told. Our people growing up need to know the true history of our country. And it does need to be taught in schools, as was mentioned earlier in the House, so that we don't have people hitting up politicians and Māoris in restaurants and pubs and saying, why you guys always got your hands out and wanting more money? The reality is, and we all know, that the value returned is going to be less than 2-3% of what was taken. And that, Mr. Chair, is why these claims need to be settled. Kia ora.
Denise Roche.